Hello, everyone. I see people are joining us. We have a wonderful town hall meeting that we're going to be presenting in just a few minutes. Thank you so much for all of you who are interested in today's discussion. I think it's a very important topic. And I'm very glad and I'm very honored to have such esteemed people as panelists today with us. We'll give a couple of more minutes. I see some people are still in the waiting room, so we're letting them in. And again, we are going to be starting in just a minute, but just want to say that a lot of us are concerned because especially those who are working in Ukraine, what it means to have a 3-month pause in funding. And this is U.S. aid based funding that was covering a lot of initiatives in Ukraine. And we brought people who are directly affected, those people who are on the ground, who are supporting Ukrainian people on the ground, children, families, mental health initiatives, the people who are leading mental health initiatives and others. And this town hall, again, we want to have a discussion, hopefully a dynamic discussion. We want to bring you in the room as well, not just people who you see on the screen. We want your questions, we want your suggestions, your feedback, anything that you can bring to this town hall. So our organization and United Help Ukraine and other humanitarian organizations who are present here and those who might be watching us later, they get that feedback. They see what all of us are thinking in terms of how we can continue support during this pause, how we can all step up as organizations, as individuals, so we don't let people in Ukraine hanging without any assistance. And I see most people are here. Again, it's a great group of people that we have as panelists. Thank you again so much for agreeing to talk about your initiatives, to talk about the effect of the lack of funding or this pause in funding. It's not lack of funding yet, but again, 3 months of lack of funding, it's gonna have some really serious consequences. And not just for us here as organizations, but mostly, and that's what we're very concerned about, mostly people who have been receiving aid from the U.S. aid and other organizations that were funded by U.S. aid on the grounds and implementing really life-saving work, supporting hospitals, infrastructure, education, supporting mental health initiatives, multiple mental health initiatives. So the effect will be profound, and we're here to talk about it. I would like to introduce our wonderful speakers. So the way that we will have this town hall meeting conducted is I'm going to introduce today's panelists. They will say a few words about themselves, about the initiatives that they were leading, and how this pause in funding affects their work on the ground in Ukraine and globally. We have today Olena Kozlova-Pates, who is representing International Research and Exchanges Board, IREX, a very well-known humanitarian organization with multiple projects in Ukraine and throughout the world, a leading organization in mental health initiative, in support of education and development of education initiatives in Ukraine and globally. Olena is also representing Ukrainian diaspora organization in Carolinas, Ukrainians in Carolinas. So you're based in North Carolina, and we were happy to see you at some of the events in Washington, D.C. when your organization's members came to represent Carolinas. So she will talk about her experience as someone who works at IREX, but also a leader of Ukrainian diaspora organization here in the U.S. We also have Oksana Zbitneva. She is the head of NGO called Barrier Free, and also she is a head of Coordination Center for Mental Health. This is an initiative under the Cabinet of Ministers in Ukraine, and I know Oksana is also involved in the program that is led and funded by Olena Zelenska's initiative, Yakty. We also have Liubov Zabudska. She's the director of Kyiv City Children's Hospital #2. And Kateryna Timakina, she's a senior mental health specialist at Veteran Hub. And we also have our own Bogdan Avramenko. He's a medical aid program director in Ukraine. And this is our subsidiary of United Help Ukraine. And Bogdan is working together with our program director here in the U.S., Anna Yabluchanska. She's in right here in the audience, but they're leading the major efforts that United Help Ukraine is having in Ukraine in terms of medical aid delivery, mental health initiatives, and also rehabilitation and assistance to Ukrainian veterans. So welcome. Thank you again for being here with us. And I will turn the table to Olena. She will start the discussion. So Olena, just please tell us a few words about yourself, a bit of your background, and you work in IREX, but also with Ukrainian NGO, Ukrainian Diaspora NGO, and how, and again, knowing that IREX was a major receiver of U.S. aid funds that were further distributed, not to Ukraine, but also to other countries. Tell us a little bit about your work and your take on this 90-day pause in funding.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Marina, for having me tonight or today. Добрий день, добрий вечір to all of my colleagues in Ukraine and here in the United States. I'm honored to be on this panel. A little bit about myself. I'm a Ukrainian American who has had the honor of living in this great country for a long time now. About 11 years ago, together with my friends, both Ukrainian Americans, Ukrainian American veterans, kids who were adopted from Ukraine, parents of those kids who were adopted from Ukraine, we started this initiative to assist Ukraine when Russia first invaded in 2014. That is when I met with the folks at United Help Ukraine because of our consistent advocacy work then. And we started Ukrainians in the Carolinas, the organization that grew to become a larger initiative. We are a completely volunteer-run and operated organization, and we have been raising funds to purchase unique tactical medical supplies like SAM junctional tourniquets, initially cat tourniquets, but now, of course, Ukraine produces wonderful tourniquets as well, bone injection guns and other American-made medical supplies, and ship them to Ukraine for use there for both military and civilians. We also do a lot of advocacy work on behalf of Ukraine and Ukrainian population here in the Carolinas for assistance to Ukraine. And also we do a lot of education work about Ukraine. Many Americans still don't know about both what Ukraine is, what it has been, and what is going on there now. So we have plenty of things on our plate here. So happy to cooperate again with our partner organizations like United Help Ukraine. As a matter of fact, in December when I was in Ukraine, Anya and I had a really good meeting, and I'm so glad that we have this connection, we have this partnership. And then just a few words about IREX. I actually am a newcomer to IREX. I've been there for about a year now. Prior to working for IREX, I worked for other NGOs that worked on Ukraine. One of them was the National Democratic Institute for International Affairs, NDI. I still very much am connected to the wonderful folks who work there to promote democratic development in Ukraine. At IREX, I work on CSO, United States Department of State, CSO's Bureau work that assists Ukrainian veterans, Ukrainian IDPs, internally displaced persons, and also works on rapid response programs. And I'm so glad to see some of our local partners represented here. Veteran Hub, for example, is one of our largest implementing and oldest really friend and implementing partner in Ukraine. So I wear a lot of different hats. At the moment, my IREX hat is off. As of last week, I have been furloughed. My colleagues have been furloughed, and our work in Ukraine was stopped. I will have to say that CSO's funded work in Ukraine, so State Department funded work in Ukraine, is a smaller portfolio. IREX has a huge USAID funded portfolio in Ukraine that works specifically on education initiatives. So I cannot speak for them per se, but the stoppage of our work in Ukraine and our relationship with our partners, or our work with our partners, not necessarily our relationship, the effects have been devastating to our work in Ukraine and to our partners in Ukraine. And I hope this pause, even this 2-week pause that already has been devastating, will be unpaused very, very soon. But happy to take any questions. And again, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much, Olena. And for our audience, we have Q&A. You can, there is a little box at the bottom of your screen. You can post your questions there. We will read them. We can also, if someone wants to speak and give some suggestions, we'll try to bring you to the room so you can talk to our panelists, but also the audience. So whatever you would like to say and answer, or questions you would like to answer, please put them in the chat at Q&A. So we're going to continue, and I would like to invite Liubov Zabudska, director of Kyiv City Children's Hospital #2, to say a few words about yourself. And again, we just last summer, we witnessed a horrific attack on Children's Hospital, the largest children's hospital at Ahmadid. And this is not the first and not, unfortunately, the last attack on Children's Hospital in Ukraine. We hope that your hospital is safe. And we are happy that we also collaborate, sending supplies to your hospital and so many others. United Help Ukraine is serving over 200 hospitals around Ukraine with medical supplies and equipment that we receive from our partners. We procure specific items, and we also provide some training. So I think a lot of those initiatives, we know, were also funded by USAID, especially training of medical professionals, and stopping this very valuable capacity building initiatives is going to be, again, devastated for not just the patients, but also not giving, again, doctors important tools to conduct their work. So Liubov, just tell us a little bit about yourself and the hospital that you work at, and how this lack of funding will be affecting children in your hospital.
Hi, hello to everyone. First, I want to say thank you very much, everyone who worked in the charity direction in Ukraine, with Ukraine. Thank you, everyone. And unfortunately, our hospital was attacked too in 2024. Not for the main corpus, but not far from it. That is why they have a lot of problems too. And about my experience to work with the charity foundation, we work with the International Medical Corpus, which help us to build a very good rehabilitation department, but in another hospital, like Children's Clinical Hospital #7 in Kyiv. And they help us to find a very good quality of training for our doctors and nurses to receive a very good quality of instruments and equipment. That is why our children receive a good quality rehabilitation here in Ukraine, and they don't need to go in another country, and they stay here and know that they could receive everything here. And I hope the cooperation with the foundation not finish and it start again. I know that whole attention now in Ukraine must be in the military, but children, it's a future. And they have a lot of problems here too. And each children, it's a special patient, and a lot of medicine or equipment we couldn't find now here, and we need help. please. You have to understand that a lot of medicine we need to find in another country because we cannot do it here. A lot of medicine do in Kharkov, and you know it's different. It's very difficult to find it there now. That is why it's very important to help us, and it's very important that children stay here, and Ukraine must have a future here. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Liubov, just to follow up, what do you think is going to happen next? How is those 90 days are going to be affecting just your hospital specifically?
You know that children are special patients. They need not same medicine like adult patients. And now we have a little bit problems with antibiotics, which special antibiotics for the children. And we try to find different charity foundation which can bring it from another country here. That is why in the future we would have a lot of problems. I think so.
Thank you. We have a couple of comments here, and let me see. I see Will. So just going to bring attention. Thank you, Liubov, and we'll come back to you again because I totally agree, and this is something that for all of us, and I think the world to realize that children of Ukraine is a very vulnerable population, and this is the population we might, I mean, I don't want to call it lost generation, but unfortunately kids, a lot of children in Ukraine have not had any offline schooling, right, since the pandemic started. And for children who are in the hospitals and those who require long-term treatment, it's just devastating to see the effect of this war and the toll of this war on children, and they're not just their physical, but also their mental state. It's another issue that I'm sure we'll talk about it more, and Bogdan will chime in on the programs that we have who support specifically children with mental health assistance. But I just want to say that in the chat we have a couple of comments. One is from Will Attic. He said he just posted a new article that was from, I guess, BC Radio that he has done together with his colleagues regarding cuts and what it means to Ukrainian veterans program. So please take a look. Thank you, Will. We also have Josh Martin saying, personally, I have several friends in ZSU who are in the hospital. Part of the costs for their treatment were funded by USAID. So the question is, are there some organizations helping with this direct support? Thanks for all your work. So we can answer Josh Martin's question. Are there some organizations that will be helping those who are in the hospital with the direct support? Do we have anyone who would like to take that question? Bogdan, do you want to chime in?
Yeah, sorry, I can. So very quick answer for that. So direct help from the USAID mostly is due to through the Ministry of Health, because we might know that the USAID supported the Ministry of Health and all state hospitals and outpatient services. So, and for the USAID funds directly to Ministry of Health or through the DOH, so Department of the Health and the region, they support it through the procurement of medical equipment and medicines. So at this moment, of course, Ukraine will try to figure out and try to find the way how to cover, but unfortunately, the own money in Ukraine in the health care, unfortunately, is not enough to cover everything what we need. So this will be the problem. And at this moment, the government in Ukraine do not have the road how to work right now under the USAID step funding for us, because also the same with the U-Rehab project, which is prolonged for 5 years, and it started in the 2024 and it's not supported in this year. And it was the huge project, how to develop proper rehabilitation system in Ukraine, according to the evidence-based knowledge from United States and Europe. So at this moment, there is no right answers on that, how to get and what to do. Of course, we need to understand that still we have some supplies, medications, which was bought in 2024 and in January 2025, and still we can do something with that. But if we will have the lack of financial support from the United States, from the USAID during the 90 days, it will influence on each hospitals, and I will tell that when I will have the speech.
Thanks so much, Bogdan. Josh, just so you know, there are several organizations that are helping those with amputations and further rehabilitation. United Help Ukraine helps people who come to the US, but we help mostly with non-medical assistance. There are organizations like Revived Soldiers Ukraine. They're helping wounded in hospitals and also providing prosthetics. They have a center called Next Step. Again, this is a Ukrainian diaspora organization. We also have another diaspora organization, Protest Foundation. They're specifically providing prosthetics both in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and also they open a center in Ukraine. So there are multiple organizations that are working on supporting those who will need help. And these are just a few that that we work closely with, but there are multiple organizations that are funded not through USAID, but by donors, by corporations that receive crowdfunding. Those are still operating, like United Help Ukraine. We were not majorly dependent on federal funding. We are dependent on our donors majorly. So we are still operating. We're keeping our programs active and running. And we even are preparing to maybe expand some of those programs because, again, the closing of some of the initiatives funded by U.S. government. There was another question from Carl Stud. Carl was asking, was the aid being sent to Ukraine under the Biden administration conditioned on compliance with DI, diversity, equity, and inclusion requirements? If so, that was inappropriate and contributed to the stoppage of aid by the Trump administration. That is even worse than in the case of aid to Ukraine. I don't believe, Carl, that there was a condition for the aid to Ukraine that was dependent on DEI, to be honest. Olena, do you know anything about that? I don't personally think it was. This is strictly humanitarian aid to foreign humanitarian aid to foreign countries. And in case of Ukraine, as we all know, this support was absolutely crucial. Also, just to remind everyone that there was a Budapest memorandum signed 30 years ago when at which Ukraine gave up nuclear weapons. In return, countries, including United States, were promising protection from aggression, and U.S. did not. We see that U.S. actually is supposed to be helping Ukraine without any conditions because of that memorandum. But also, we all know it's also in best U.S. interest to continue to support Ukraine as a free democratic country. And I think I can speak from our organization, and I'm sure others will say the same. American people who helped Ukraine back in 2022, that help and support was unprecedented. And it wasn't just the government who was supporting, it was a lot of Americans and entire global community who saw the need to support Ukrainian people in their fight for freedom. Thanks. Those are great comments and questions. Okay, we're gonna move on. move on, and I will come back to answering those questions that are in the chat. But right now, I want to ask Kateryna Timakina. We just started talking about mental health initiatives and veterans, but your veteran hub was providing aid and being a lifeline or hotline to those with some of the emotional disturbances and some, I'm sure some with PTSD and more severe psychiatric problems that a lot of times people coming back from the front lines experience. So Kateryna, tell us about yourself, your initiative, and what is it that Veteran Hub did and how it impacted, how this pause is impacting your beneficiaries and you personally.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you for this invitation, and thank you for your initiative to take us all here to speak about what happened. So I'm a clinical psychologist, and I resilience and trauma educator. So I personally work with veterans and their loved ones, and also prepare warriors to be more resilient on the front line to prevent some mental health disorder and to not let stress become PTSD, but become a post-traumatic growth. So like a week ago, I wake up with half of my ability to help, actually, because we lose our veteran hub in Vinnytsia, and we also lose our support line and also all infrastructure around it, because we as an organization, we provide 3 levels of mental health services. We provide like crisis and informative educational consultation for warriors and their loved one. We provide short-term consultation, and we also provide long-term psychotherapeutic help for those ones who need this. And also we have a huge amount of already happened mental health disorder which are connected with the war, because 70% of our clients are not clinical population. It's people who came to mental health specialist for the first time in their life after the full invasion, and this is a significant numbers here of these disorders and states, and it's actually very important to give this help on the beginning of the disorder, when the hard situation and hard stress started. If we prevent it, it's cheaper and quicker to heal it before it is a huge disorder and or recurrent disorder. And if we invest some time and efforts to prepare and to make psychoeducational work, it helps a lot. So yeah, our helpline help a lot with this task, yeah, because people call us to get to know the self-regulation technique, to get help from crisis techniques. And it's important to understand that this part of the war affect not only warriors and veterans, but it's also affect civil society, because each night in the Kyiv, I wake up from the air alarm, and this is like reality, and this long-term stress affect us. And also family of warriors do not have the opportunity to be in a safe place, and even warriors who came back from the front line to safe cities, it's not safe at all. Yeah, so our main affections of this situation is posing in our 2 big structure, like Vinnytsia Hub and support line. For next 3 months, we already find some funds from private business and from a city organization, but it's not sure for like, if it's the situation for 3 months, it can be somehow handled here, but we provide long-term work, and the specification of Veteran Hub is that we work for like 6 years already, and it's a huge efforts for for trust with our clients, because the war is continuing, and the war not last for 3 years, less for 11 years already. And some of our clients was veterans when they came to us at first time, then they become warriors, then they become veterans, and their families come to us. And this is like a good trajectory of their way, because often we have veterans, warriors, and families who lose or who wait from captivity, and they need support too, because it's very hard situation and very vulnerable situation for them, and they need this help and need this protection in the time where our government try to protect us in the front line. Yeah, so something like this. Thank you.
Thank you, Kateryna. And to follow up, we have a question from Yuri Dechikivsky. Yuri is United Help Ukraine's member since 2014 and our board director, current board director and board director in the past. And Yuri is a doctor. He is MD at Johns Hopkins. And his question, and he's one of the I would say he's an unbelievable supporter, and he is supporting probably every single organization in the U.S. and in Ukraine. So question from Yuri is for Kateryna. Did the contract or grant agreement with U.S. aid require adherence to DI in writing?
I'm absolutely not a legal advisor of Veteran Hub, but our key principle is no discrimination and equality for, it's like basic human principle of living. So I'm not sure that I can answer correctly for a question about writing a contract, but equity and equality and no barriers is like key principle in which we build our services, our spaces, and accessibility for all of this.
Thank you. I absolutely agree with your answer, and I think this is how many of us operate. We have operated with those principles, and will continue to operate with inclusion and diversity and equity that we keep in mind at all times. There was a comment from my dear friend, Joe Lindsley. Hi, Joe, if you can hear me. It's good that you are attending this town hall. And he was asking about the recording. That's actually a good question. And to all of you, this will be posted on United Help Ukraine's website, a recording of this meeting and conversation. And Joe wants to find and share the most compelling stories with people who he knows in the White House. And we really want to focus on hospitals, and hopefully we can fix those. I don't think we can fix, but at least I think the community together are definitely focusing on the hospitals as we provide aid to the wounded. And it's not just the military. A lot of civilians are wounded. We see attacks every single day. Kateryna, you just said it. I don't know how you survive in Ukraine when you hear sirens day after day, and your kids have to go to bomb shelter. You have to go to bomb shelter at night, in the middle of the night, and then you wake up in the morning, kids go to school, you go to work and continue operating like nothing is going on. It's incredible resilience. And really, to me, it's one of those moments when I say that as a parent, this is really devastating to hear those stories. But also we see attacks on just the civil infrastructure, houses, hospitals, and we just need to continue that support, especially medical establishments, again, because of the great need. And mental health initiative is one that we see immediate effect on people who are disabled because of the issues that they are experiencing. But also there is a long-term effect that we can't even comprehend right now. And we started with children, when Liubov was saying about how this is such a special population, right? These are special patients that require special care. And we were just telling our thoughts on this, that this is also the population that we don't know how it's going to turn out in 10, 20 years. This is the population that will be rebuilding Ukraine and will be living in Ukraine, and not supporting kids right now is just, I don't know what else can we, what else inhumane we can do to a country when we don't support children right now, as well as, of course, we're supporting those who are defending this country. I'm gonna, thanks, Kateryna. We might have some questions for you, but I'm gonna turn into a Q&A again. And there are a couple of comments here. I think this is a great comment, and it's true for to hopefully all participants who are here are doing this. And the question Alexandra Hursky was asking is, have you been reaching out to your members and supporters here in the US to call and write to their elected representatives, senators, and congressmen and women, expressing their opposition and concern over the USAID stop work orders? They need to know whether in red or blue states, but especially those red states, they log calls and emails from their constituents. Alexandra, thank you so much. This is something that our organization is doing. It's advocacy work. We are encouraging everyone here, your friends, your relatives in the US, to contact your representatives. Again, doesn't matter which state, and to tell them, you've heard today the stories of how it's impacting people's work and people's life in Ukraine. And we're not even talking about military aid, we're just talking about humanitarian aspect of the aid. And I absolutely agree, this is something that we've been doing since 2014. A lot of people who are here definitely are contacting, and this is a plea that we are asking everyone to do. So please, please support people of not just US that at the USAID, but support people of Ukraine and other countries that are experiencing such hardship, that this foreign aid is crucial. And it's not just for those countries, it's in the US best interest, it's global stability, and it's global prosperity, and I think freedom overall and order. If not the US, I don't know what other country can be a leader globally to provide that aid to those countries that are suffering right now. Anton was just thanking all. And then Yuri Dechikivsky saying again that this is also inscribed in the organization's philosophy of Unite Help Ukraine. Yes, no discrimination of any kind. Thank you, Yuri. Exactly. So do you know if there is Knights of Columbus Council in Kyiv? I don't know. Anyone knows what is that? Okay, I don't think we know, but sorry, Robert, we might answer that question later. Olena, I see you have your hand up. Do you want to add something? Please.
I'm sure, yes, I'm sure there is that presence in Ukraine, but I also wanted to add, I think the previous question was raised, and it's incredibly important. Obviously, hello to so many friends on the list. I was able to see the list. Orest Dechikivsky can tell you all about advocacy work that has been done on behalf of Ukraine for all of Ukraine's independence, most recent independence. Ukraine support specifically, and really foreign assistance in general, which by the way is 1% of our budget, which is insignificant when you consider the benefits of that assistance to the world. But Ukraine support on the Hill in Congress has enjoyed bipartisanship and bipartisan support, at least in my 25 plus career in this field. And this type of work in the foreign assistance field is very closely monitored and audited, at all levels, at all times. And certainly I strongly believe, even before our newly appointed Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, who, by the way, sat on the board of various foreign assistance providing organizations just even until December of this year, so he saw firsthand, for example, on his sitting board at IRI, where and how this assistance went and was distributed. But so many in this country support this assistance and certainly support Ukraine. And like I always say in my presentations, that the people of this country, this is the most generous country in the world. Certainly in my experience, it has been. And while over the last 10 years, I witnessed it firsthand from private donations from folks here in North Carolina, the small, comparatively, foreign assistance support that this government has provided to this world has made sure that America, this country, is more prosperous, is safer, and is stronger. And on the example of Ukraine, I mean, we certainly all can attest to that. You can ask our veterans like Will, who already asked a question here, how Ukrainian veterans who actually recover as quickly as they can and they'll go back to the battlefield, make Europe and the rest of the world safer, prosperous. Obviously, the medical, even the few medical supplies that I, as an organization, purchase that are made in America and go into American taxpayers, are making America more prosperous and certainly safer and stronger. We've already talked about it. So that just a quick comment on the previous question.
Thank you. And I hear from our technical support from Lilia and Darina that we have a couple of people who would like to have a question raised here in the audience. Please, bring them in. We would like to hear. And whoever else would like to ask question in person, don't hesitate. Please come in. Lilia and Darina, don't hesitate to bring them in the room. John. Hi, John. John, you're on mute.
I'm sorry, I think that was an accident on my part.
Okay, so no question from you. Okay. Anyone else?
Not at the moment, no.
Okay, thank you, John. It's good to see you here. Anyone else, please? Okay. Anyone, if you, ladies, if you see someone who would like to join, please bring them into the room. It's good to see you all. Okay, so we'll turn back to a couple of comments in the chats for Q&A. John Lyons is asking, is there a published list of immediate programs and program descriptions, as well as funding needs for those programs that require immediate needs, so global partners can align with the immediate needs and find paths to contribute, donate, and provide resources from the private sector? A portal so individuals and organizations can jump in with resources they would most likely align and want to support. John, there are multiple organizations here in the U.S., including United Help Ukraine. You can read about our programs, and those are, again, as I said at the beginning, and it's not just for us, I'll tell you about other organizations as well, but United Help Ukraine is working in those most needed life-saving sectors. And that is the reason why we were able to really act quickly in 2022. Our first containers were in Kharkiv and Sumy, medical containers were in Kharkiv and Sumy 2 weeks into the war. So I remember it was March 10th when we already had a container of medical supplies in Kharkiv. We already had a warehouse open on March 18th, and we continue to support, and we work with Olena and her organization to bring the med supplies and equipment to Ukraine at crucial times. And Ukrainian diaspora, I'm really advocating for Ukrainian diaspora organizations, and you can find the list anywhere. They're vetted. United Help Ukraine, Nova Ukraine, Razom, Revived Soldiers, multiple organizations that have those programs for medical aid, psychological aid, humanitarian assistance, supplies for the front lines in humanitarian ways, such as evacuation vehicles, ambulances, tactical medicine and training. So those organizations that are, I see Ivan Vidyakin here, and it looks like it's not just Ivan, but there are a couple of people under his name, but Ivan is leading an organization called Lileka that are supporting medics with life-saving tactical medicine in the front lines. So multiple organizations that you can find that are vetted and have those absolutely crucial needs programs already established, most of us since 2014. If you go to a website, you will find initiatives, you will find how you can help. And I think it's a matter, of course, all those organizations are also working closely with Ukrainian governments, Ukrainian officials. And for example, and I'm sure Bogdan will tell as well, and Anna Yablochanska, she's also here as our director of medical aid program. We work from top to bottom. So we know on the top level, working with ministries, understanding what's needed. We work with Liubov Zabudska here as a director of the hospital, for example, and sometimes down to the doctor level that might need a special equipment that this specific specialty requires. And there are so many organizations like that, but I'm really advocating for Ukrainian diaspora. They're most efficient. I can tell for United Help Ukraine, 94 cents of every dollar donated to us go to programs in Ukraine. So that's a really, this is again, an incredible efficiency, and I know others do as well. A lot of organizations, like Olena is saying, her organization is 100% volunteer-based. So other organizations who grew, of course, because they're providing such massive support, again, operating very efficiently. So please check us out. We have partner list on our website. You can donate again to your trusted charity. Bring private sector in. It's super important, and that's how we operate, and that's how we are able to support. And that's why this town hall meeting is here. And I see Anna's comment. I'll come back to it. Bring whatever you think is how you can bring a private sector, your corporation. You can. This 3 months will be crucial. And if not for your support, again, people of Ukraine will be suffering quite dramatically. So is there a way for NGO on the ground to provide assistance where US aid has been lost? Yes, the answer is yes. And again, depends on the program. And I know we have been working with multiple NGOs in 2022. We have our own programs now that are quite large. So we still continue to work with NGOs, but less so. Other organizations like Razum and Nova, they implement their funds through NGOs in Ukraine. So you might look for some answers there, but definitely we will be supporting and we'll be stepping up to support, provide that support for crucial initiatives where the funding has been lost or are not there for this 3 months of pause. What is Norma Wassel? She's asking, what is the most effective action that Americans can take to reverse this decision? We just answered that question. Advocacy is absolutely #1 priority. It works. We, as an organization, are founding member of American Coalition for Ukraine. The sole purpose of coalition is to advocate. And let me tell you, it works. We have 2 summits in Washington, D.C., 500 delegates from 47 states come in, but there's also work on the ground. Everyone with a U.S. passport or a legal alien can call and ask your representative what is their take on a U.S. aid funding pause. And I think the more people call, it's all recorded. Great comment. This is crucial. Keep calling, keep telling that this funding is absolutely important. Okay, so connecting from Odessa. Hi, Ray. Thank you. We will continue to focus on humanitarian messages. Absolutely. Okay, and Yura, there was a question about Knights of Columbus. Yes, there are in Ukraine. And then Yuri, check answered questions. There is a chat, so that's great. Unfortunately, for many in this country, foreign aid means nothing. We can only write to our representatives. Again, please do. It matters. The decisions are made. Our organization was able to provide close to $75 million in aid over the past 10 years. And this is nothing compared to what U.S. government can do. Even though it's 1%, like Olena said, foreign aid is only 1% of total budget. It's not a huge amount of money for U.S., but it is a great deal for foreign countries that are absolutely needed. They need that support. Olena, you wanted to
Marina, I can add here, if I may, just for a
absolutely.
second. Again, I think it's so important. And also, as all of you know, there is also so much misinformation or disinformation in this field right now, because everybody who have heard the word Ukraine would like to jump in and start accusing people of corruption and a lot of other things that might not necessarily be very true, and talk about, USAID as the greatest evil of all times. But the information needs to be, unfortunately, as you know, a lot of the government websites have been taken down, so the resources maybe are not as openly available. But there are so many folks who, especially in the DC area, who have worked in this field for a long time. So I think information is out there, but it's important to find the truth and tell the truth. Because I think for me, when I sit down one-on-one with a person who knows nothing about Ukraine, by the end of our conversation, we're the best of friends and we're trying to figure out how we can help each other. Again, I think it's a very American thing to want to be generous and to want to help those in need. And I also want to add, just because I come from a state necessarily, I'm not in DC right now, for us, it has also been really helpful to connect with our local government officials and our state government officials, both those elected executively, our governor's office, and our legislature as well, our mayors, our county commissioners, and talk about various opportunities that are out there. We have police departments who have been able to donate some of their supplies. We have worked with the National Guard on the ground. We're working with the Secretary of State. We're working with our mayor. So it's connecting more into communities and spreading the word and telling the story. And I think, again, that is another thing that those of us who are on the ground can contribute. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much, Olena. So I think we have, I think we're missing Oksana Zvitneva. I think she got disconnected. Unfortunately, she was traveling, so we won't hear from her, but maybe we'll have another town hall where we bring a special special focus on mental health. We're just talking in general about this lack of aid and what it means. But we have Bogdan Avramenko, who is United Help Ukraine's medical aid program director in Ukraine. So I want Bogdan to share your stories and your vision. First of all, tell us a little bit about yourself. We started working with Bogdan back in 2022, but I just want you to kind of tell us more about yourself and what is happening, what you see on the ground in Ukraine.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you, Marina. Thank you, everyone. So yes, I'm a medical aid program manager here in Ukraine and coordinate all medical and mental health care and assistance here in Ukraine from the United Help Ukraine. I'm a cardiologist, so I'm an MD, and this is the second one. That's because I know exactly how the USAID work with the states, hospitals, and the government and the Ministry of Health, because I was working and still continue the work as a doctor in the hospital. And the third one, I'm originally from Donetsk, and I moved from Donetsk to Kyiv in 2013, and let's say maybe I might know what doesn't mean the war itself and how my movement from the Donetsk to Kyiv was in 2014 and how it was supported by the different organizations and US includes. So in United Help Ukraine, I will start a little bit from the projects and then we'll continue exactly what we see on the ground with the health cluster, with the WHO, with the coordination center of the cabinet minister. That's what we see right now. Since 2022, we have the great project, which is called SMUGA. This is the mental health support for child and their families, for IDPs and vulnerable people who need the mental health support and they do not have the possibility to pay for that, because all our services in Ukraine is supported only by the UHU, and we do not make a fee from anyone who wants to have mental health support from us. This is very important. What do we expect? The pause in the operation of USAID funds and US government funds means that our mission and our hub will still continue operate, but we have a lot of international organizations in Ukraine who were supported only by the USAID. and they had the same option as a center of psychological support as we have. And it means that the clients or the people, beneficiaries from them centers will move to centers which continue the work. We continue the work, but we understand that we are strong and we are powerful, but it will be not enough to cover the all beneficiaries who need the mental health support, because according to our statistic, what we did, 41% people in Ukraine need the mental health support, and only 18 and 19% in Ukraine was consulted by the psychologist, psychiatrist, or psychotherapist. So we had the gap during the funding from the U.S. government with the USAID funds. So it means the pause, even in 90 days, will influence on the mental health of everyone in Ukraine, at least 40%. This is what we have. Right now, with Oksana Zbytnyo, we start a new project in Ukraine, and it was in Ivano-Frankivsk, we start the project training and supervisions for the psychologists who work in the state resilience center. It's opened by the Ministry of Social Policy. We also do not depend on the USAID funds, and it's very great because the Resilience Center, this is the government structure. It's a state structure which support the vulnerable people. So VA, IDPs, mothers, childs who lost. This is the families of defenders. And they said that some funds was as a co-payment to them salary, like USAID, IMC, or any other organizations, even IREX, make a co-payment to them salaries because the government cannot cover the all costs for them. So it will influence them because we just spoke to them. It was 2 days ago, and they do not know how to continue and prolong the project in the resilience centers and how to help with the mental health support. The third one, health cluster. The United Health Ukraine is an active member of the health cluster at WHO in Ukraine. And we had a national coordinator meeting, and if you might know, the government wanted to go out from the WHO, I mean the US government, and it's huge impact on the future of WHO, who supported the hospitals, supported the healthcare providers, supported the beneficiaries. And on the level of the health clusters and subnational health clusters, we see that a lot of mobile clinics with medics closed and paused for 3 months. What does it mean? It means that during the 3 months, some of the regions, like Sumska region, Kharkiv region, Donetsk region, is a frontline areas which was supported sometimes only by the funds from the US government. Let me tell you regarding the Project Hope. It's a huge organization. They had 47 mobile clinics with the medics, and they operate in Kherson, Kharkiv, Donetsk region. More than half of the mobile clinics was stopped. It means that the people will have the limited access to the medical assistance on the frontline cities, areas, villages, and towns. It means they will not get a proper medications. And we are talking about the 3 months to stay without the medications to treat the chronic conditions or acute conditions. USAID supported the renovation of the outpatient services, ambulatory hospitals, which was affected by the attack of drones, Shaheds, and other rockets during the last 10 years. USAID provide the funds to the hospitals to make a renovation, to buy new equipment, to treat as Pani Liubov Zabudska said, to provide a high quality healthcare assistance to the citizens of Ukraine, because we might know that on the beginning of the war, a lot of patients moved to Europe to have a treatment because we had a lack of understanding how does it work. Right now, we may work, but unfortunately, without the supporting of the U.S. government, from the USAID, who support the health national system, it's very difficult. And the last, a lot of projects from the USAID, supported by USAID, like UREHAB and future project UMind from the USAID, because it was a proposal and allocation, and it should be 5 years length project to create to build the proper system of rehabilitation and mental health support to the in the war country. Unfortunately, it also was stopped, and or let's say it's paused, but we don't know what will be in it in 90 days. If it will be not continue, we understand that on the example of Ukraine, it's very great to show the world how during the war in Ukraine, and the war in Ukraine is it's more than 10 years right now, how to build a proper system of the healthcare national system, of rehabilitation system, because 10 years ago, we didn't have the proper way to work, to operate in the healthcare system. Right now, we know, but it was only because of the support from mainly from the United States government, and of course from the Europe right now. And unfortunately, if the United States will not continue to support the government structure, the ministries and the local authorities, gramadas, unfortunately the funds from the Europe, from the ministries and the countries will not cover our needs. So this is the main and huge problem in the healthcare system right now in Ukraine.
Thanks so much, Bogdan. That was a great overview. I totally agree with so many very important points that you brought in. And I think it's a good, you mentioned you rehab and then you mind, those huge initiatives, one for rehabilitation of veterans in Ukraine. And then we know that currently we have 250,000 people serving, and that only with rotations, the number of people is just building, and it's not going to stop, until the war is over. But then we still have this huge number of people who will require constant care and support. And without the system in place, Ukraine is going to see a lot of challenges ahead. And I see Will Addig, you wanted to say a few things about the veterans and the initiatives here, probably because you're one of them, and you're a great supporter and advocate for Ukraine and for veterans. If you have just a few minutes, we're running out of time. I think this is a great discussion, and I see that we need more of those discussions, definitely. So we will be hosting more of those town hall meetings with great interest. Will, if you can say a few words, go ahead. If you
can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you, Will.
Very
Yep.
quick, my name's Vladik with the U.S. Ukraine Veterans Bridge, an organization working to advocate for Ukraine veterans programs. I think that just really quickly, the way we focus on this so much is that while Ukrainian soldiers are on the front line defending the overall future of Ukraine, these civil society programs, especially for us when it comes to veterans, are the things that are helping build the foundations of the future of Ukraine. And this funding is so needed when it comes to what Ukraine looks like once victory is achieved. Some of the things we're doing, just to let folks know, is that we are trying to get in the media as much as possible to explain the devastation to the Ukrainian programs, especially veterans, to make sure that that's in the airwaves. There's links to be shared, and I recommend folks do that as much as possible. And then also, unfortunately, this is my country, but my team will be in Munich next week, and we'll be working to talk to European partners and other partners to try and find immediate emergency funding to Ukrainian veterans programs from other partners outside of USAID for right now. But I just wanted to thank everyone who's working and kind of say sorry that this is happening right now, because it's pretty devastating.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Will. I know you're a great advocate for Ukraine. I often see you at the meetings and here on the Hill. And again, thanks so much for everything that you do. And especially you're absolutely right. This foundation that we have ability to build right now to support, if we don't have it, this is just going to be piling up on us. I want to quickly go through some comments. There are just not very many left. And then also I want to give closing remarks to all of you, just a couple of sentences. I think it's going to be important. And again, thank you all for joining. We will definitely have another one. And I cannot thank enough our wonderful speakers today. Quickly from the audience, Angela Arnold, she shared a couple of remarks that it was helpful. We will have a script for members of Congress, so you can reach out to them. And also you can find it on American Coalition for Ukraine. We'll definitely send to our subscribers the script and that what you can do next. It's definitely better to donate funds to organization, or some organizations like ours, you can purchase specific items that we know are needed at the moment. You can purchase through Amazon. We have those campaigns, and then they can be delivered, because we can also quickly deliver those items in other organizations too. So it's definitely more efficient to donate or buy specific items other than buying item and sending it yourself. Yes, government is preparing a list, and again, a lot of organizations and are working directly with the Ukrainian government on the needs, meaning Ministry of Veteran Affairs, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Social Policies. We are all in this together. Major organizations are in close contact in understanding what's needed at any time. It's just every organization will take a small part, focus on certain initiatives, and not do everything as, for example, USAID can do, supporting multiple initiatives. We, even though with millions of dollars that we have in donations coming from, again, global community and Americans, which we're very grateful for, we cannot kind of get everything going. Okay, please make sure to support, at least help spread awareness about the struggles of Ukrainian independent media. This is something we haven't even touched. This is again, thank you, Tanya Kozlova, for bringing this. Absolutely agree. USAID funded not only independent media, also anti-corruption centers, multiple anti-corruption center. One other thing I want to mention in terms of digital transformation, USAID funded DIA. This is one of the very unique programs that all Ukrainians know and use in their phone. Everything is there. USAID funded this amazing project that when I show Americans, and I think we actually had a presentation here 2 years ago from Fedorov, the Minister of Digitalization. It was great to hear. But again, those are crucial projects that we think are small, but actually they have a huge impact on Ukrainian society and so many others. John Bolton is saying, thank you for what we're doing. Yes, we're fighting. And there was another comment from someone, I think it was, I forgot who, but I think it was Ron, who mentioned that American public is also devastated of this effect. And I agree. And I just want to say from us, it's really hard to see what's going on, but we hope we can step up, fill the gap, but we are really hoping that the government will reconsider and we'll see the funding back on again. So we just, yes, there are still many Americans who support Ukraine. Thank you, John. Just what I said, and you have supported, and charities and CFC and other great initiatives. Yes, we are also part of CFC campaign. This is for federal workers. Please donate through that as well. We do not support, as an organization, we don't directly support people who relocated here. We support majority of people in Ukraine, but we know organizations who do. So if you have any questions, please let us know. We will be, we can address those questions to those organizations who have those programs here. With this, I'm gonna, again, thank you all so much. And I wanna kind of go around the table. What is next? What can we do together? What are our priorities for the 3 months as individuals, as organizations? What do we see coming? Just a couple of sentences to close this wonderful town hall. Again, thank you so much. It was very informative. We'll follow up with the recording, transcript, and any other questions that were not addressed here. And we'll continue this dialogue, super important. Olena, we'll start with you. A couple of closing remarks. What is next for you? What's for organization and our community to move forward?
For myself, no, but for the community, definitely stick together, coordinate. I think those things were already said today. Coordinate the best that we can, advocate on every possible level, speak to the media. If you're going to Munich, great. Try to see if you can speak with the newly appointed leader for the, I guess, figuring out what this Ukraine-Russia negotiation will do. But most of all, continue fighting for Ukraine. I feel like we as Ukrainians or Ukrainian Americans or those Americans that have been supporting Ukraine have been fighting nonstop for so long. But now is not the time, I guess, to put our hands down and sit quietly. It's the time to continue this type of fight. Clearly knowing that Ukraine and Ukrainians are fighting not for just their own survival and their own sovereignty, but they're fighting for freedom that we here in the United States hold so near and dear to our hearts. So just that reminder is very important. And also, those of you who are in the faith communities, pray for that as well. On our side here in the Carolinas, it is faith communities that have been stronger supporters of all of our initiatives. And I know one thing we also didn't talk about, through IREX, for example, we worked for years on supporting internally displaced. Initially after the first invasion in 2014, there were about 1,200,000, 500 or so. Obviously now there are many, many more, both within Ukraine, and now so many have left Ukraine. I know it's a priority of the Ukrainian government right now to bring folks back. For that, we have to have peace. But so many internally displaced Ukrainians are dealing with very same issues that our veterans are dealing with. As a matter of fact, so many internally displaced are those who are veterans or families of veterans. So that's definitely another huge priority. But thank you all so much for being so outspoken. For the colleagues in Ukraine, дуже дякуємо за вашу роботу. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Olena. Liubov, Zabudska, кілька слів, будь ласка, a few words from you.
Oh, okay. I hope so, that we would have a good cooperation now and for the future with the charity foundation from USA and from another countries, which help us to work with our patient in a good medical care, to receive them a good medical care. And I know that a lot of doctors and nurses in Ukraine has a lot of knowledge, but still we have a little problem with a big problem with the medicine and with the equipment now. And I hope you would help us to find this. And our people stay with us in our hospital here in Ukraine because they want to live here. Please, you have to understand, they won't stay here. They don't want to go anywhere. Only this situation with our war, they need to go in another country, but they want to come back. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Liubov. Kateryna.
Yeah, thank you for this conversation and for different opinions that were shouted out. And from my perspective and from my organization, we should continue no matter what, because support veterans and their loved one is a crucial pillar of not only peace but future. So yeah, our activities will continue no matter what, and this is like the most important part of organization. So thank you, and thank you for your
Thank you so much,
support.
Kateryna. Thank you for being here, and again, for everything that you do for veterans, for children. Olena, you're encompassing a lot of initiatives. So, Bogdan, your last words for this town hall.
Yeah, thank you. So my main point, and only one I want to ask to everyone who is here and who will hear us in the future, please just be as an our main partner in this war and in situation what we have right now in Ukraine. I would like to ask you to make an advocacy regarding the Ukraine, because we have the huge war in the world right now. And the third one is, in case if you will have any chance, tell to any Americans, to any people in government that we need the support. We need the support of U.S. citizens and the government to create, to build, and to fight for our freedom and our future, for first of all for our kids, and then for the adults. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Bogdan. And thank you all. We're already 4 minutes over our time, but I think there was such a great discussion. It was hard to stop. I wanted to continue because there were so many interesting questions that were brought in the chat. And I think we're going to continue having those town hall meetings. We had this broad one, but we'll focus on some initiatives more in more detail. And I think this is, again, first one, or our organizations, like many other large Ukrainian diaspora, are focusing on several initiatives, including defenders, medical aids, humanitarian, and here in the U.S. raising awareness. And I think those are very, very important initiatives that we, again, those are, and they're broad, but we want to focus on where the need is greatest at the moment in Ukraine, and how we can fill in the gap for this 3 months pause so that people are not suffering. I think that's our goal number one has always been helping people, saving lives, and then we're going to continue to do so. Thank you all again so much for coming. Thank you to our audience, amazing questions, really great discussion, and I'm very grateful for all of you for everything that you do to support Ukrainian people. Thank you all so much. Please stay tuned. We will be definitely releasing more information from this town hall, and we will certainly have another one, because I definitely see the need, and I think this was a great discussion that needs to be continued. So thank you all. Have a great day. Have a safe night, hopefully a quiet night in Ukraine, and we hope to see you all soon. Continue to support, continue to advocate. Together we can definitely make a difference. Thank you.